So yeah, I can sing in that voice. It's kind of fun. Me and my sister used to sing it when we were young.
Do that again. That was. There's no fucking way that came out of your vocal cords.
It did.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta stand up. Okay,
it was brilliant.
All right. Christmas, Christmas time is near. Time for toys and time for cheer. We've been. Oh, I messed up the lyrics, but that's pretty much it. But yeah, I can sing in it. I can talk in a cartoon voice. It's fun. Oh, I should add that to my April Fool's list.
What did you do the first time? Do that one more time. It was like it was so digital, like so fast.
Yeah, it sounded so digital, didn't it? It was like unreal.
First the Globe TV said so. That wasn't really a chipmunk voice. That was just kind of a high voice. Did that sound like them? I'll have to listen to them again. It's been forever.
Jimmy, I think you need to talk. You need to talk to the next new person in that voice. That would be funny.
Or I could cuss in the voice. That makes it. That's funny too.
Nah.
And why do you think it's a globe? Huh?
Nah.
I don't know if I could do it without cracking up.
Why haven't you done this to fucking Globers before? Like mid-debate,
right?
Like they're stumped, and you just be like, "What's the matter? You haven't found the curve?" Like, why wouldn't you do that right now?
Okay. Excuse me, I have a question.
Lou, don't get annoyed.
Where is the curve? I want to know where it is. I want a picture of it.
Oh my god, that'd be so cool. That's brilliant.
I can do it too, okay? You can just come in here and do that, okay?
You just have to tighten your throat. It's hard to describe, but yeah.
No, just do it. Just try to do it as
possible. About
you have to try to do the voice. I can't do it.
You have to close your mouth and just kind of talk with a small mouth.
With a small mouth? Okay.
Always do it just with a small mouth. And then
you're changing your vocal cords, though.
Yeah, but you have to do small mouth.
I take my time. Nah.
When they start stumbling on, like, answers, just give them the Yoda thing.
Sam.
What are you talking about? You crazy asshole.
Robert!
So,
how do you do that too, you crazy flag?
Who's that?
See, not the globe you do.
I was gonna say something better, but I can't speak it in this phone with my throat go fucking crazy.
That's great, dude. That's great. If we get a troll in here, we'll all start
we should do a skit together and make them all fucking freak out.
Oh my god.
I've been able to talk like that since I was a little kid, but I rarely ever do it anymore. So I haven't. My voice gets like screwed up when I do it because I'm not used to doing it anymore.
I applaud you.
All right, a new idea for a flat Earth YouTube video of flat Earthers making a cartoon that seems real.
Indio's doing it.
India is doing it already.
Make our own Sesame Street with their own characters.
Get with Indio.
I can't make the puppets, but I'd be willing to help do it if somebody was nearby me.
Yeah, we need to collaborate. You guys didn't delete the collab lab tag, did you?
I work around for 5 minutes, and this is what the stream turns into. A bunch of people talking like they're really busy babies.
I used to be able to speak in Daffy Duck, but I can't speak in
now. They're gonna.
Daffy's hard to do.
Okay, do you guys
have to do like a squawking noise and talk at the same time? What were you going to say, Jane?
Like in '85, it was a cartoon And the name of the character was Bobby, and I'm trying to think of the comedian's name. He's on
you
that
ought to
show.
know it. He's on that show. Yep, come on.
The talent show. Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But anyway,
how can you forget his name?
Talking about Bobcat Goldthwait.
Talking about the one that's on fucking America's Talent or whatever it used to be or whatever.
Yeah. But I think Bobby is a flat earther.
Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel. That's it. Howie.
Yeah,
Howie Mandel. He's like a really.
Yeah, that's why I kept
saying,
putting so much emphasis on the word how.
But yeah, I think Bobby's a flat earther. We should make Bobby a flat earther. Who was the guy that was talking in his little voice? He could be Bobby. Who was that?
That was me, Ricky.
Yes, you can be Bobby. You should change
I can do a lot of voices. I just don't know how they sound on the live stream because I've never heard my voice on the other side of it. Can't hear it in my headphone. So it's hard to say like if it sounds good or not. I know my friends think I sound funny sometimes, but that doesn't mean much. You know what I mean?
I got
hard to tune it so you can hear your own voice back in your ear. You know what I mean? You can tell. I can tune it better if I can hear it better. Like if I can hear how loud it is and all that. But
there's a VC verified in here named LSE.
Woohoo!
Nice. How you doing there? What's going on?
Oh! Oh no, for real. Welcome, new person.
Hello. Say hi.
Yeah, now they're going to think we're a bunch of nutters.
Oh, well, they probably do anyway.
That's all right.
I know,
I'm
right?
kidding. I'm teasing. It would be fun to play around with that, though.
Yes, there needs to be more comedy in Effie, if you ask me.
Yeah,
there's enough comedy in Effie. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we need to have like an alternate channel that people can go to where we can do goofy stuff like that without getting in trouble. You know what I mean?
There we go.
Like stand-up comedy, yeah, but like it's already Effie is nothing but comedy. This whole shit, like when we're talking, it's dude, like every
on both sides of it. Because if they don't believe you, then they laugh at us. So and then once they're on our side of it, then they laugh at everyone else. So yeah, it's kind of funny. It can be funny for everybody.
Dude, it's hysterical. Like the shit that happens in these conversations. Like no matter who you are, globe or flash side, that's why people get drawn into it.
What about this, Lou? I just thought of this just now as you were talking. So what about a David Letterman's top 10 something flat earth ... whatever, grinds my gears or stupid things people like, I don't know.
I could see it being done, but I don't
10 retarded things that we hear on the live stream or whatever.
But dude, David Letterman style.
David Letterman hasn't been cool in over 20 years. I mean, like,
well, we'll make it like Letterman. It'll be the new Letterman.
That's okay. Yeah. You don't like Letterman? You don't like the top 10 that he used to do?
Like, I mean, it was okay 25, 30 years ago. Like,
all right, let me give you an example then. Maybe this will help, Lou. Okay, so this is something I did actually myself. And yeah, it was probably 20 years ago when I did it. So what I worked at the time, I worked at McDonald's, and me and this other girl, we always were in drive-thru. We had our little headsets, and you can talk outside or you can talk just inside. So we'd make our little comments about people to put up with people being whatever. So we made a list, top 10 things that burn my ass about working drive-through service. So that's what we did. And it was fun. It was so fun. We cried, laughed so much. So it could be something like that, but not exactly. You know what I'm saying?
A really good job with it. It'll be funny regardless, right? But that depends on like how you do it. It's just you're not going to
have this job, Benny.
You're not going to get like an extra boost because it's like, well known or common or hip. I mean, like maybe the well known, to a certain group. You're gonna hit a small group of people. I'm just talking about like if you're gonna do a comedy routine, right? Like you want to try to make the audience laugh. You got to think of like the age group you're referring to.
Oh yeah, you got to know your target audience, right?
Yeah, like they're you know, if you have a bunch of boomers and like Gen Xers, like, you know, yeah, you might be able to get away with the David Letterman thing and say, yeah, that's like, that was really good, you know, but like for most people, they're going to go, what are these boomers laughing at? You know?
So I got a joke. A couple of you have probably heard this.
Nice.
Who's a penguin? Who's a penguin's favorite family member? Antarctica.
Oh, shit. That was a good one.
Arctica. I have an aunt, and her name is Arctica. Antarctica.
That's a good.
We got the joke.
I just felt compelled to do that. Thank you.
That one is a zinger for dad jokes.
That's a good dad joke, yeah.
But if we're gonna do chipmunks, we have to find someone that has a higher voice.
You need people that love you to be able to tell that joke to them. It's not useful for myself. I just put it down on everything, right?
Definitely be telling my daughter that one this weekend. She's gonna be hearing that one.
Does she love you? Then say it.
Dude, my daughter adores me. Like
I know she does. I've seen the videos or the pictures and the clips of you pulling her. I've seen the shit you do with her, dude. I would love you too if you're my dad.
You probably would.
Yeah, I would, dude. I would even let you molest me. Fuck it, whatever.
That's all right. Don't get fucking too weird. No, dude. Like,
I'm saying you would still be a good dad with the stuff that you do with your daughter, even if you were like my dad and you molested me a little while doing those same other things.
Whoa! How did this conversation go there?
I used to be a great explorer.
Me and Lou are extremely like dark comedy, so we don't care.
I used to be a great explorer until I went to Antarctica. That's when things went south.
That was shit. Sorry. What's the difference between a giraffe and a digger?
The fuck is a digger?
A digger? A JCB.
The fuck is a JCB?
Like,
are you saying dagger or what are you saying?
A dirt digger. A thing that digs dirt, dude. Like, fuck.
An excavator?
Yes, an excavator. What's the difference between a giraffe and a digger? That's what we call them in England, diggers. Because they dig. It's just intuitive name, right? You know? Wow.
I'm sure and you haven't been watching Harry Potter. Like,
what's the difference between a giraffe and a digger? One's got hydraulics, the other's got hydraulics. Wait.
That's for the British kids out there.
Well, you don't talk about hydraulics to kids, bro.
No, you do. Those are they're all adolescent jokes when you talk about. It's like the one we have one where we talk about what is it?
Like my granddad who's got cancer, you know, we covered him in butter. He went rapidly downhill after that.
Something about the grass tickling a midget's nuts. I gave the punchline before the joke. I can't remember it. Well, midgets giggle while they laugh because the grass is always tickling their nuts.
Yeah, I like the one like you know, my neighbor, we call him Blue Peter. He's got bad circulation. And then there's this one. It's what is it? Yeah, it's what I said before. My granddad, yeah, he got cancer. We covered him in butter. He went rapidly downhill after that.
That's fucking weird. You guys are fucking weird.
Did you hear about all the people in Antarctica with TV?
Why you gotta be mean to us?
Did you hear about all the people in Antarctica?
What the
No, we didn't hear about it because people keep saying stuff, bro. Sorry.
Did you hear about all the people in it? Oh!
It seems on purpose at this point.
Sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. All right, now let the man talk. Let the man talk. Come on.
All right, my joke's over. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I had to do it that time. Sorry. It wasn't me the other times.
This talent can be taught. Okay.
Yeah, I know how to talk like that too, but I'm just not being a dick right now.
Did you hear about all the people? Did you hear about all the people in Antarctica with the CV?
Get out.
Yeah, they're all in isolation.
I knew it was
a couple that a whole bunch of researchers in friggin' like caught the CV and it was like going around their Antarctica camp. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go on with whoever was going to talk. I apologize.
What do you call a Latino woman with no legs?
Eileen.
Consuelo.
That's what I was
going to say.
Oh.
Eileen was one leg, Lou.
Yeah, you're right. I fucked up.
Well, it actually might be not so low. It might be high if she's on her hands.
I got a really old blonde joke from a really long time ago. What did the blonde say when she opened up a box of Cheerios? Cool donut seeds. That's a bad one. Oh, what about this one? What did the blonde do when she woke up in the morning? She opened the car door. Oh, that's a really bad one. That's an old one.
How are blondes and sweethearts alike?
What did the blonde say first when she woke up in the morning? What did the blonde say when she first woke up in the morning? All you boys on the same team?
Dang, that's bad.
No, that's when she woke up on the football field, remember?
Yeah, there used to be like a whole bunch of them. You could probably find them.
How does a blonde open up, or how does a blonde turn on the light in the morning, or whatever? No. How does a blonde turn on the light?
Car door, yeah. She opens the car door. Yeah, I said there's a whole bunch of jokes that go along with that one.
Yeah. The blonde. Oh, here's a good like fourth grade one.
How do you carry a blonde home after she gets too drunk at the bar? With 2 fingers.
Oh.
What do you do when a blonde throws a grenade?
Just got that one.
What do you do when a blonde throws a grenade at you?
Throws a grenade?
Pull the pin and throw it back.
Yeah, you pull the pin and throw it back. Absolutely.
Yeah, jokes are
Difference between a blonde and a toilet seat. Difference between a blonde and a toilet seat. Toilet seat doesn't follow you around for 2 weeks after you use it.
Dang. That's a good one, actually, Dave. That's actually good.
It is good, but you say that to the wrong woman and you'll be in trouble.
Dude, they're all fucking dyed blonde anyway. What the fuck do they care?
Okay, so yeah.
I was just going to say, it depends on if the carpet matches the drapes.
So, I also...
Like, I get it, you guys are just making jokes, it doesn't matter, but my grandmother, she's like Dutch. Like,
I'll stop.
What else?
I'm being goofball too.
No.
Wait.
It's terms, bro. She's gray. She's more gray. More white. Easier.
Are you about to talk about your grandma's curtains, Hank?
Whoa!
Dude, I don't know what to make of this.
I'm not alone.
I don't know.
Like 70s curtains have always been terrible to look at.
Came in hot robot, Hank. Say that again.
Some of them.
The landing strip was around back then. It's not so bad. Still.
Move on.
Oh,
The landing strip is still a go.
If there's grass on the field, you can play ball.
The Hitler mustache
All you gotta
never.
do is tape a flashlight to each foot.
The Hitler mustache. Hitler never goes out of style. Like the Hitler mustache is pretty much acceptable. I would definitely.
Timeless. It's timeless, bro.
really?
Right.
It's ungassable too. I'm just saying. Try burn that shit in an incinerator. Catching a theme. Joshua, what was that?
Holy cow!
No. Trying to play with the soundboard.
Oh.
It didn't come from you. It came from the other Joshua. Joshua.
Yeah, I know. 'Cause it's not. I can't connect.
Nice. Alrighty then.
You related to Jim Carrey?
What?
What you
Why
talking
do-
about, Willis?
Why do terrorists in Antarctica love being interrogated? Snowboarding's fun as hell.
That one tickled me for some fucking reason.
Yeah, you always get somebody with every joke.
I do like snowboarding. Maybe that's why. I don't know, man. I love snowboarding.
I think that one was designed for me. I'm the one who's been talking about my new fucking gear and shit. Like that was.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
wait, Lou, you got new snowboarding gear?
Yeah, yeah. I did.
Changes everything.
You haven't seen his gear, really?
Tell us about it, Lou.
Oh, you were into that? That's cool.
Yeah, no, I do. Like I've had. Look, I've been doing it for a long time. I've had sustained injuries from not playing, but from riding.
I thought it was skateboarding.
From playing board.
Yeah, from playing board.
For some reason, I thought it was from skateboarding, not snowboarding.
No, snowboarding. Whatever. So no, he's trying to make it awkward. Now I got to talk about it, even though I'm done for the most part. I was just super stoked. I'm going to use this snowboarding verbiage too. By the way, when I say stoked, so I went out and I was shredding my new board. I was trying to hit the gnar, and you know what I mean.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, my gear. A lot of my gear was like old school shit. Like I've had it since I was a teenager. I'm like, some of it was fitting too tight. Like some of it was just beat up, like thrashed. You know, and so I had to. I decided this year to replace like pretty much my whole setup, and so I'm like really stoked again with my gear. That I'm going to shred the gnar in the pow with. You understand?
You hear this, man, bro?
This board, I wrote it last week, and for the first time. And I knew I was getting a carver, but my God, like it's so different from my other board. Like,
really?
Yeah, it's way different from my last one. Like, but it's cool. Like, I'm enjoying it. Like, it's just at first I was a little bit sketch, you know, like, and yeah, so getting out. Yeah, I was getting a little bit gnarly in the turns, you know, like. No, anyhow, no, but it's actually a lot of fun. We have a lot of icy conditions around here, typically. So, and it's meant to be able to keep a hard edge, for hard carving, through the turns, even in icy conditions, and also is good in powder. But those are like two extremes. Like, so it's a all mountain, directional twin. Anyway, if anybody who's listening freaking knows what that is, that's what it is. But I'm enjoying it. It's way different from what I was riding before.
How was it, bro? Those carvers are different. Way different. In fact, sick. Rad.
You sound so old saying rad.
Pretty rad there, right?
Well, on top of that, also like, so I went from like with new boots and bindings too. Like I went to step-ons, and like, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm changing everything else. Like I'm trying a new stance too. Like I used to ride left foot pretty, like 15 degrees forward, right foot like 3 degrees back, duck foot just ever so slightly. Mm-hmm. But now I'm trying 18 degrees forward and 15 degrees back. So like, it's a little bit more symmetrical, like for trying to ride switch and shit. But then again, I'm trying to like do more switch riding on a directional board too. So it's, yeah, I'm really fucking throwing a wrench in my normal riding.
You're stoked though, right?
Absolutely stoked. No, having a ton of fun with it. It's good gear. It's good shit. Like it's nice to have new stuff. But yeah, I just got you.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I was into rollerblades a lot when I was a kid, and I don't do anything stupid, but I'll try to ride down a ramp every now and then. And I went to the city park, and like mid-30s, right? Like, and I'm just like going down the ramp, like, fuck it, if I fall, I fall. I'm like, I'll try it. And I probably got up to like 25 miles an hour, right at the bottom of that hill. But yeah, I didn't fall. I usually don't.
That's great.
But then again, I ain't trying to rack myself on a whole bunch of beams and all that stuff anymore. Well, I never did. Sorry. And I don't do sketching anymore. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, but rollerblading was fun, man. I don't know. I couldn't do any ice skating. I wanted to like do hockey, and nothing like that here. I guess there was places in Dallas where you could skate, but I never went.
Yeah, at least you're around the same age as me, and so like as a kid growing up, I know even in the north, like it costs a lot for these places to cool their facilities and keep ice indoors and everything. Like we don't just do this outdoors because we're up north. Down south, I would imagine that those cooling costs would be a lot more, and ice time itself would be a lot more expensive.
So I thought, why let that stop me? And all the skaters, on the skateboards, they're like, what are you doing? That's gay. Like, I'm like, I don't give a fuck, man. Do you? I'll do me. I don't like skateboards because you fall off the skateboard.
Dallas does have a hockey team, don't they, Hank?
Yeah, but they're not really. Look, all the hockey teams in the United States, almost all of their players are coming from like half of their players come from Canada, like a third of their players come from Russia. There's like 25% maybe, or maybe a third, I don't know, somewhere in there, of their players are Americans on any NHL team, period. They're coming out of like Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, you know, like what if these are even countries anymore, I don't even know. You know, like but that's how it is with the NHL. It's an international thing, and so like your team, whether it's from Dallas or from Houston or from Chicago or whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's just where the ownership of the team is.
Yeah, but having an NHL team does help with youth hockey. Like I live in Florida, and
all right, mate, we believe you. Oh.
No, don't stop him. No. He played hockey too. Me and him both played ice hockey as a kid too.
Just because you like hockey doesn't mean I wouldn't stop him anyway. But like, yeah, continue. I wanted to hear it anyway.
Both played organized hockey, and like you don't understand how it is in the United States. Like hockey is
understand how organized hockey works because I fucking
really hard sport to get kids into because like
I know it is.
Yeah.
Hey, Crack.
It's hard for me to even get one go at it when I was a kid, so I get it, bro. Like in England, like I live near one of the only cities that's got a real ice rink in it that's actually worth using. But I want to go back to what that other guy was saying. Like,
Yeah, so
stop obfuscating, Lou.
So yeah, usually when an NHL team comes in town, it helps spur like the youth hockey. Like around here, there's a ton of rinks now after the Tampa Bay Lightning's been around for a while and won a couple Stanley Cups. So there's a lot more kids playing hockey down here.
Nice. And like hockey's so cool, bro. Like I know, like the people go, "Oh, it's violent, the fighting," and I'm like, "What fucking fighting? There's people punching each other with pads on." Like where I'm from, like there's a game called bricking, where like basically we get like bricks and we just like chase each other around the like neighborhood and we throw bricks at each other.
What's funny is with hockey, like there was one of the we don't have an NHL team here in Milwaukee, but we have an AHL. I think they used to be IHL.
Fuck the NHL.
We had the Admirals, and there was an interview on the radio where with one of the captain of the Admirals, and they were talking about exactly this, the fighting and how like hysterical it is because like most often when you start busting in the opponent's face, like it's because of a gentleman's agreement. Like these guys, like you ever seen these moments in hockey where we're like all five fucking players just like immediately as soon as the puck is dropped, they drop their gloves and their helmet and they start beating the shit out of each other. Well, they don't necessarily dislike the other person or anything like that. It's like, yeah, well, we're supposed to fight, and it's like, all right, we're fighting. So this is how they do it. All right. It's a play of the game. That's why it hasn't been removed. It's actually like,
dude, it's part of it. Exactly. It's like it's not like wrestling when you have a fight in wrestling. Like it's like, dude, it's fucking cool.
Yeah, they all of a sudden they just mix. It's like all of a sudden we're gonna switch it up and we're gonna have boxing, and like remember,
you realize like how cool that is. Like a multi, like it's so much more dangerous. People don't realize how much more dangerous the part of hockey is, where like you get slammed into the fucking guardrail at like 30 miles an hour, like which looks like Mach 2 almost, but pool's probably like Mach fucking 10 Gs.
The boards shake an awful lot, dude. They absorb a lot more than you think. But
okay, I know how much they absorb because I've gone into one.
Be that bad, honestly, but
no, I'm not on about that. I'm on about like the fact this is the concussive blow to your body just alone, right? I'm saying that is worse than what anyone who's padded up wearing all that gear is going to do with like a punch to your fucking your dome.
I don't know. That's the thing with hockey is when it comes to the fights, they're not. They shed their gloves, they shed their helmet, and then they go fake. They
it's not, like, they've got all the other gear on still, though, haven't they? That's what I'm trying to get at, Lou.
Like that's it,
huh?
when they fight, it's just in the face. It's just fist face.
Yeah, it's just punches just to the face. It's like bare knuckle boxing, which bare knuckle boxing actually, believe it or not, has less likelihood to cause brain damage and stuff like that. It causes more cuts, but like bare knuckle boxing is actually safer than boxing. Technically, it's statistically proven now with the BKK, because with boxing you have a bigger surface area for the glove to hit you, which causes a more concussive blow, which means that fights don't end as quickly. They go 12 rounds, and people get more. They get concussions that are based on a bigger, longer period of time. And I'm just saying that when you throw off those gloves and the helmet in the hockey, you have guys that are bare knuckle boxing that are wearing those shoulder pads and all of that gear. It's quite hard to like throw punches that are like extremely concussive.
You'd be surprised.
And you're slipping on the ice, bro. Listen, you're slipping on the ice, so you grab onto each other. So you're not like swinging from back here always. Like, yeah, you are a little bit, but like you sort of flow with one another. Like if I hit you and you're on ice, right? The ice is going to allow you, and you're on skates. It's going to push you back, so that absorbs some of the blow too. So then it's like there's a teat between, like, you're twisting almost, like ice skate to ice skate, like twisting. Like me and my friend did this for fun when we finally managed to go to do hockey, ice hockey. Like we beat the shit out of each other with our fists on the fucking thing, and it wasn't like when we bare knuckle boxed in the back garden. Is all I'm saying. Like it felt like we couldn't knock each other out. We couldn't really do any damage to each other. Like we hit each other over and over again. It's just about accurate little punches to the face. You just like hold on to each other, and then you're just like, but you're a bit restricted. That's all I'm saying. Your movement.
Like yeah, they're really breaking noses and knocking out teeth, but like
yeah, but it's not that bad. Like concussively is what I'm trying to like. People don't misunderstand me when I'm saying it's not that I'm not saying it's not like a real fight. What I'm saying is that knocking teeth out isn't the worst thing that can happen in a fight. What the worst thing that happened in the fight is for you to hit your brain like a Mike Tyson punch.
It's never been done where like they were like we're gonna let them fight to the death or like
exactly
chokes the other one out. Like no, what I was saying was that it's a gentleman's agreement. Like that it's these guys are just like, yeah, we're gonna punch each other in the face, like on the next play. Like your team agreed, so did ours. So like we're doing this.
Exactly. You've pissed me off. You've done this. So like, right, let's fucking have it out next, like at the next part of the game, and we'll throw off our gloves and we'll punch each other,
grabbing each other's shoulder pads and just like hugging each other, like. But at least there's somebody on the team who has a real tiff, and then when if it's if there's like a rivalry or something like that, or something went bad in the game and it's high stakes, like that's when like the whole team go at it. I'm just saying.
That's safer usually sometimes.
The way that they call it is amazing in hockey, where. If a fight breaks out, you let it happen as long as they are, drop their gloves in their
punching each other in the face.
Hit the ice. As soon as they hit the ice, it's over.
Yes, exactly. That's my point. It's like a clean go in a bare knuckle boxing match, Lou. This is why I agree with
That's literally how my dad taught me to fight.
It gets rid of animosity. Look at how. Do you want to know how dangerous? Right. So I will say this, and then I'll let you speak. Sorry, Hank. Do you want to know how dangerous it is in football that none of the beefs ever get settled? Not only between the crowd and the team and the things that can happen on the court that or on the field that can happen that will cause rivalries and beefs where basically people start stabbing and bottling each other after games in pubs and have that shit out in the game. Have these sportsmen take up the mantle of protecting your fucking fans, right? And have the shit out there and then. Like, that's the way it should be. It's the same way in rugby. Like, and this is the gentleman's agreement, the mutually assured destruction thing. Is like, when I was on a rugby team, I'm a fighter, right? So, like, if my friend had a beef with, like, someone on the other team, but he's scared of fighting people, like, physically fighting, right? He's a tough dude, take a big blow, but, like, he's not going to fight, but, like, he's going to come to me and be like, right, look, bro, I got this beef with this guy, yeah? So, like, it's going to go down between me and him, right? It's gone raw. End of. So let's have it. And I'm like, all right, let's have it. I'm like, right, so you got beef. It's gone raw. It's a problem. Let's have it. And I will single out the guy he's got a problem with, right? and then I'll fight him instead. Or if he doesn't want to fight me, he might go to someone on his team who's not afraid to fight, and there'll be 2 representatives from the sides of the teams that have got a problem, and they'll fight instead. This is what I see happening in the hockey, and I like it.
Rugby? Is that really how they handle those in rugby?
Yeah, that's how we used to do it when under 14 years old. That's how we used to do it. It would be like
that's bad. Also, I do not understand why rugby wasn't like more taken in the United States. Like that sounds.
It's better than American football as well. I've played both sports. Like it's fucking great, bro. I'm sorry, but like it's a gentleman play. Like they say this. Like they say gentlemen play football, like soccer. And they say that hooligans watch it. Then they say that hooligans play rugby, but gentlemen watch it. They serve beer at rugby games. They're not allowed to serve any alcohol whatsoever at like soccer games because people will just murder each other. There's no aggression.
We've all seen like the railing at a soccer win like fail and hundreds of falling like 25 feet on top of fans and shit like that. And
well, I've heard it, like there was like 250 fans got crushed to death once. That's a lot of people to die. 250 is a lot of people to die, bro. Like,
Travis Scott concert, dude, come on.
What?
No, I'm kidding. I'm just being cynical.
It was in like Argentina or something like that. And the concrete failed because people were like, the rail failed, and the rail because it was embedded.
Like on top of it, fucking trying to break it down, right?
Yeah, they were trying to break the rail, and the rail, by breaking that, it basically created a huge crack in the concrete, and it separated one of the fucking bolts that was like holding on the main frame of the floor to the concrete like wall that the rail that they were bending back and forth was attached in. So the whole thing fell down, and once it had fallen down, there was more weight on the bit above that only had a couple of like things left to hold it in, and it all collapsed in. And like 250 people like were crushed to death, bro.
Yeah,
like it was like a concussive wave.
I was joking when I compared it to a Travis Scott concert, but
yeah, that was apparently like really bad. But like to me, it sounds like a rock concert, and people went to a rap concert thinking it would be like a rap concert when it was more like a rock concert.
What I learned afterwards is that Travis Scott, his rap was more like the audience, even though it was rap. The audience always took it to like this whole like hardcore like mosh pit friggin'
dude. Like when you go to like a let's say a Metallica gig or like an Iron Maiden gig, or you go and listen to Avenged Sevenfold, you listen to Slipknot, you listen to what are their name again? Du hast mich. Rammstein. Like. Yeah, so like I've been to these people's gigs, like it's extreme, the mosh pits are, but you have extremely big dudes, like me when I was like at Avenged Sevenfold, and
mosh pits, and it's usually the big dudes at the front, the guys who are hardest and whatever else, but like there's in there that
we help though. Everybody's to keep people safe,
hippie love going on inside of a mosh pit. They're all looking out for each other.
There is. So like we would look after the little people, basically, is my point. So like the big dudes that want to like throw it around and go crazy, like part of what was fun about that was because like we would be up against the guardrail, the security guards, if they didn't do their job, they would get dropped, bro. Like they could get fucked up, and they know it because there's bigger dudes than them. They're like big bikers and shit, right? And like people still have the right courtesy. Like if there's a female there, it's like no, like you make sure that she's got enough space to like be able to exist. She doesn't get trampled. She gets picked up and put on someone's shoulder. Her ass might get pinched or something by someone. I don't know. Like that shit goes on, obviously, but like she doesn't feel like sexually assaulted because she was just protected from a situation. Like I've seen these scenarios so many times where it's like the rock crowd has got a different mindset. Like you know what I mean? Like. Even with like the stuff,
a democracy going on inside of the mosh pit too. Like where I remember being like a 15-year-old kid inside these mosh pits, and yeah, we're bouncing off each other. We're trying to push each other. We're hard into the barrier around the circle, and like whatever else. But there was this like one, 35-year-old like guy who's probably way too drunk. Came in and he was oversized and he tried to like literally hurt people. He came in like elbows and punches like in with his freaking shot, like
and inside of his dancing.
A few of us got hit and it didn't take long where all of us were on his ass all at once.
Whack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy came in like to the middle of a mosh pit, bro, like blood pouring out of his face already, spraying everywhere, and he's screaming like and like making the blood sprout, and he's like, yeah, like he loved it, like it was great, and he knew he was bleeding. And I'm like, bro, fuck off with that shit. And it like went in a girl's mouth because he was spraying that much. And I was like, right, you're taking the piss now. I was like, leave. And the security are like coming towards him, like running across, like to get to him, like two big ass, like bearded, like guys who are rockers too. Like they were the personal security of the band. They were coming to get rid of him because the security were just staying behind the line or whatever. And like then he turned around and like got blood all over me, and I was just like, fuck this. I was just like, whack, hit him straight in the jaw, just like knocked him out. And like that sounds really bad, but it was like, dude, you got to think about what's going on here. Like this guy's like spraying blood at people on purpose, right? Like he clearly was already like the way he was moshing as well was like elbowing people. Like he wasn't like trying to like bump. He wasn't bouncing into people like with his like shoulder, like making it smooth. He was getting the points of his elbows in.
Cool guys though, that was the thing. Like it was like literally the guys who started the mosh pit. Like I guess I would be like a late first generation or early second generation or something. But like these guys in the mosh pits, they literally a lot of them were in there to hurt you. Like the idea was to see blood, and and there was this like kind of people that they would show up for years at concerts, and like there'd be one that would always fall into the fucking pit, which was, even though it looks chaotic, it's not.
There's slight touches of people like pushing people up as they fall down and stuff. Like as you go past someone who's like falling down to their knees, you grab them and like put them back up onto their feet and like keep it going. Like there's like these like things that are of respect. It's like that's why Travis Scott shouldn't go, because it was like people went there with that like black rap attitude of like fuck everybody, like we in the hood, bruh. And then they went in there like moshing and shit. So it was like no one had that like sense of community at the same time as like taking the idea of rap of like fuck bitches, fuck hoes, like shoot everyone, stab people, kill people with moshing.
Dude, he's one of them R&B niggas. Like it's just all that like all auto tune. It's all like yeah, baby. Shit. It's like like it's not hardcore gang banging like shoot a nigga down.
I know it's not. But he tries to portray himself like in a certain, like some of his fans, are like those hardcore like gangster types, right? But then the majority of his fans are not. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like some of his fans are like the rocker types, right? It's like, mate, the lines have been merged and merged and changed around a little bit with the music fans, because like you've got like some of the people, like I'm saying, the rap people that went, like the more hardcore people, they like bust down all of the stuff so they could get in quicker, bust down the rails so they didn't get searched for drugs and shit. Like you've got the hardcore, more criminal elements that go to some of these things, and then you had like just like the normal kids, and then like I'm saying the elements didn't mix basically like very well at all. I'm just saying if like that Travis Scott concert was to have occurred at like Download Festival, for instance, it would have been a different story, is my point. Do you know what I mean? Like if it was at a rock festival like Download Festival, it would have been a different thing. Like it wouldn't have went down like that at all. Like because you would have had like hardcore rockers there that were like have the mosh etiquette, like you don't let people who are small get pushed up against guardrails and shit like that and like nearly die. You just don't do that, bro. Like you make sure they don't do that.
I was in at least 2 contests. There was one in particular, right up against the front.
Say that again, because there was some weird noise.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but yeah, there was one in particular where I saw a kid. Cause like, oh fuck. So like this place, it's a summer festival that happens around here called Summerfest, and like, they throw big rocking shows. They got 11 stages that go on for 11 days. How it used to be, but like you would have headliner bands that were playing free stages, like just with your admission ticket at these stages, and like so they were cheap auditoriums for the most part, unless you bought like the headliner for the night,
Yeah.
But like we had room to mosh, and then when moshing came to be like too much of a problem, they moved all the benches forward. They made more seating and no room to mosh. Like that would stop moshing, but it didn't. It just meant that moshing happened on the bleachers. So like you just knew when you're up there in front, you in the mosh pit, you just knew that it was only a matter of time before somebody fucking hit their head on the corner of that fucking bleacher over there. And yeah, I saw like I don't know, 14-year-old kid get knocked the fuck out. Like he got knocked down and his head hit the corner of the fucking aluminum bleacher. And he got knocked out in the middle of a mosh pit, and then people were about to trample his ass. And like me and a couple other people,
they picked him up,
we helped to pick him up, and we body surfed him over to the security guys. Got the hell out of there. But who knows what happened to that kid? I know what I saw. That kid hit really fucking hard. Like,
people are tougher than you think. I've seen people get hit really hard, and I didn't see them again afterwards, but I'm assuming they're alive.
Yeah, I think the kid probably made it. Maybe. Hopefully, but like I have no way of knowing. Like,
I always say a good festival though. Like, if someone doesn't die, like, how good was the festival really?
Oh no, I'm sure with the one this size, this is considered the world's largest music festival. At least that's what they advertise it as.
There's be at least 5 to 10 deaths there for sure. There's one called Bloodstock in Germany.
yeah. Every year there's at least 10 deaths. Like I'm pretty sure.
At least at Bloodstock, there's at least 10 deaths, and like if there isn't, it's sort of kind of like, nah, was it really that good then? That sounds fucked up. But like,
the gangsters. I saw a dude who we're watching the 4th of July fireworks on the lakefront. They do it on a barge out in the lake, and
so I love those barge things.
Like 250,000 people cram into this tiny little area on the lakefront, and then I was standing only feet away from this dude who, on the lakefront rocks, fucking like 11 dudes from like all different directions, all came running in through the crowd, and they just beat his ass into the ground till his ear. They were stomping on his head right in front of me, and fucking his ear disappeared into the gravel and shit. Like he lost his ear that night, like most of it.
Why didn't you help him, bro?
Dude, this is 250,000 people. These guys did it in seconds, and then all ran through the crowd out in different directions.
You should have chased every individual one of them down and beat them up for it, bro. Like, you're a piece of shit. How dare you not help?
I'm just telling you, no. They all the guy who got stomped, I got to see him plenty well. He was wearing all kinds of fucking jailhouse tattoos and shit.
Yeah,
like,
he deserved it then, right? Because he was in prison one time. Yeah, all right.
Saying that, but I'm telling you that this was a gang thing, and I'm not going to get in the middle of it. Like, they'll
gang, bro. It's GG. Yeah, I'm just like making out the most ridiculous position ever. Like, you're a complete asshole. Why didn't you get involved in this gang?
No,
like, gang slaying. Gang slaying. It was yours to stop, Lou.
10 seconds, and the dude lived, but he lost his ear. You know, like
you should have lost the ear too, just to make sure, like, for no reason. Like, that gangland slaying was yours to stop, bro.
You were Spider-Man, dude. You were Spider-Man.
that like gang. It's like when a gang shooting happens in LA, and I'm always just like, well, why didn't that white guy in that car over there just like stop the black guys from shooting each other in that drive-by? Like, fucking prick.
You know what? Because that's between them. You know, like, I'm not fucking. I'm not
just being like really unreasonable with it, like one of those people, like, yeah, like, dude, like, yeah, like the news are like, he's like, yeah, and I saw like a shooting. There were 5 guys in this car with like Uzis, and they were shooting into this house, and it's like, yeah, like, well, why didn't you do something? Like, the news reporter just live, like.
I did. Yeah. I did. I didn't mean to fucking tell you guys I saw this shit. I'm really sorry. Can you like?
He's like, I rung the police. They're like, oh, you rung the police, the people that hate black people that would probably come and shoot more black people anyway. So basically, you're a racist and you're trying to get more black people killed. So yeah, like, why didn't you do something yet again? That was your gangland slaying to stop, bro. Like, okay, yeah, right. Whatever. We don't speak to non-heroes.
If I was like, a superhero or a Marvel guy, or like maybe
you're
I would
a Marvel superhero. Ask your daughter.
Maybe I would have fucking been like, this is an injustice that must be stopped. You know?
Fuck that. I'd leave him to it, bro. Gangland tattoos and shit. Fuck that, bro.
You're a monster.
You made your own bed, lie in it, bro. Like, I'm telling you straight. Like, I don't know what you did in jail. Maybe you spooned some drugs out of his ass or some shit. I don't know.
It happened in front of a whole bunch of normies. Like, whole bunch of normies. It was like something out of a prison.
A whole bunch of potential heroes that failed to save his life.
No, listen. You're not listening. Like,
oh, yeah. Sorry.
It was a very strange situation. It wasn't like I was in prison. It was like a concert. Like I said, you got people elbow to elbow.
You weren't in prison.
And then these people just flood out of nowhere, beat the shit out of a dude, and then disappear 10 seconds later. Like,
dude, I know, I'm joking. Like, of course you shouldn't have got involved. Like, that shit's some, like, gangland hit shit. Like, stay the fuck out of it. Live by the sword, you die by it. He obviously did something wrong. They targeted his ass and then split.
But I was the guy. Like, the guy was standing practically in front of me. I had to help him up out of the gravel. I was like,
Well, you didn't have to do that much, bro. You put yourself in danger right there, right? Okay, so you shouldn't have probably done that much, because what if he mistaken you from one of the attackers, turned around and stabbed you or something? Like, next time, don't get involved in the gangland slaying. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, okay? I'm trying to protect your life here, okay? As a friend, as a fellow FE guy, like, dude, don't help people up off the gravel, and don't pick up his ear either, bro. Like, fuck his ear.
Pick up his ear. The next guy actually picked up his ear. I'm not even kidding. A portion of his ear was picked up by the next guy. I helped him up. The other guy was like, dude, you might want this.
You realize the ear is lighter weight than the guy, right? Like, you took the harder job. I'm just saying. Yeah, I probably would have kicked this fucking ear in the dirt and just been like, dude, there's your ear.
The amazing thing was the dude was after he got stomped on the head like 30 times. He got stomped on the head into the gravel like 30 times, and he was still there. Like when we helped him up,
He was
like
fine.
yeah, because it was gravel.
Of
It was fucking.
Of course. Like the gravel took some of the brunt, like the stones moved around a little bit, made a little pit shape the size of his head. To be honest with you, they lightly stroked his ass to sleep. He just unfortunately lost the ear in the process, like type thing. Like compared to what he did, like I said, in prison, guys, he probably spooned some drugs out of one of their homies' asses the day they got in out of jail or something. From their prison pocket.
A bunch of Mexican dudes that beat the shit out of a white dude, but they all had jailhouse tats.
I bet I know what the guy said to him when he handed it to him. He probably said, "Here you go."
Here you go. He probably said, "Maybe you should have lost your mouth, you snitch." I would have reminded him why he got stomped on. I would have been like, "It's probably because you're a snitch or something, bro."
Dude, I forget what he said, but whatever it was like,
these motherfuckers, they're always trying to put me to sleep on the fucking gravel and shit, bro.
When we helped him up, like it was basically like something along the lines of like, you don't want to know, or like you don't want to dude,
what I did was worse. Don't worry. Like I told you, like that's why you live by the sword, you die by it, bro. Like, yeah. I hate people that like live by the sword, die by it, right? Like there's this guy in prison starting a fight on this like 60 days in, right? And he picks up a broom and like goes and hits this guy with a broom, and it like breaks instantly. I'm like, whoa, it's still not. Just because the tassels fell off, it didn't mean you had to let go of the main metal bit. Like you could have kept that. Like you fucking idiot. Like if he failed at his attack, right, and he's like, he starts running away, and the guy pulls out a shank and starts shanking him in the ear. It's like a tiny little shank. Like I'm not afraid of these tiny little shanks I see. I'm just like, well, bro, like I'm just gonna grab that shit off you and beat you down with my hands. Like I don't know, like that's just me. But anyway,
I think we might have some newbies in.
Yeah, cool. Wait there, 1 sec. There's a shank story. But 60 days in, right? Like the guy, they hit him with this broom, and then he like realizes it's broken, so he starts backing off, running away. The guy starts shanking him like in the ear and in the neck and stuff with this tiny little shank. Like I said, it was pathetic shank. It's like a toothbrush with a little point on it, right? And at the end, afterwards, he gets up off the floor and he's like to everyone in the thing, all the other black guys. So he's like, "Y'all motherfuckers didn't do shit. You didn't do nothing. You didn't do shit. You didn't help nothing." I'm like, bro, you just started this fight with this guy for 6 hours, hit him with a broom, and then like run away when he got the better of you because he had a shank on him, and then like you're having a go at everyone for like not getting involved. I'm like, what the fuck are you on about, bro? Like you just set that whole thing into motion. Like if you fucked him up, you wouldn't have been like, "Why didn't none of you help me stamp him to the ground?" Like, yeah, you lost. I get it. Dope. Whatever. But like, don't complain because no one helped you, win your fight that you started, you fucking idiot. Sorry, go ahead. Introduce the newbies.
Yeah, so it looks like we have Hekra. Hekra, you new to the server? Can you speak?
Is he VC verified?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
No,
Don't worry.
I'm not new. I'm just like a little lurker.
Oh, a lurker. All right, don't worry.
Oh, you're a
You
lurker.
can speak up. We won't shank you.
I don't know about Lou. He might watch you get shanked and your ear taken off. Like, he sounds like you don't care.
Yeah, so I'm just chilling now, sitting here smacking, just listening to y'all conversation.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So what brought you to the server, man?
I believe they were at the splat, so I'm just here to listen.
Yeah, prove it.
What?
Prove it.
Prove it, like, the water is
prove it. Like,
no
you come in it. Right, well, you come in and just say something as, like, outlandish as, "Oh, Earth's flat," like, that's why I joined. I'm asking you.
No, I've known this since, like, 2016. I found the server, and I just joined.
Okay, dude, I'm just saying, what's your evidence for the Earth being flat? Like, present it. Like, whack it out. Like,
I'm not like I said, I don't know like the specific data and stuff, but like you just look at like there's no measurable curvature, and water is flat and level like everywhere that we can observe. And like the one argument I heard when I got here is like it's a really good one. Is that like the vacuum and like the non-vacuum, they can exist next to each other, so
All
with
right.
no barrier. Yeah,
Why is that?
like I said, because like a vacuum needs a closed space, like a jar. It's closed with like a vacuum lid type, and like there's no lid to separate Earth from the supposed space, I guess. But I don't know,
Right.
like it says like the
So,
specific.
do you believe we have containment here on Earth to protect us from the vacuum of space?
I don't believe space exists.
No, but do you know what I mean? Do you believe there's a vacuum out there? That's why we have a container.
No,
You know?
I don't believe there's a vacuum that we can prove. Yeah.
Good answer. Because it's like people always mix it up. They're like, yeah, we've got a container of firmament because like if we didn't, like entropy would dictate that all of our atmosphere would escape. It's like no, it's we have gas pressure. That's why we've got a container. Like the antecedent relationship to gas pressure is that you need a container for it, right? So like that's one clear delineation right there. Like, and you already got that down, so that's good. And then yeah, obviously space is a load of bollocks, basically. Really, like let's face it, like the whole idea of it's stupid. They admit we can't even go there, right? So like again, like you talk about the Earth being flat and stuff. Like you're a flat earther, cool. So yeah, what was it that really like stuck you to the flat Earth and unstuck you from the globe?
Well, okay,
Like,
long story. Long story. I had a lot of free. What?
Sorry, I was a bit aggressive at first. I was just sort of like just being a bit of a like. I was just testing your metal a little bit, tiny bit, you know.
No worries. I get you. So long story, not long story, but like I'll do the whole version. So when I was younger, I had a lot of free time. I was a lot on the computer, and I did like a lot of research on different subjects that I won't get into, right? So that's how I stumbled upon flat Earth, and I just realized that the government and stuff are like Satanist, like cultists, right? And I realized, oh God, and then I just like spirits and like God and devil exist, right? Like according the government believes it because they do all these rituals, Freemasons and stuff. So then I started thinking, go deeper on that, and then I found like egg-based videos and stuff, and I realized that we are a creation. It even says like in all these religious books that like Earth is stationary, movable, and stuff. So like it makes sense to me if the highest like people on this Earth or whatever believe in the devil. So everything just makes sense that we are created.
They would say the opposite as well, right? Like it's like it's immovable. It's it's flat. It's like they're gonna say everything the opposite to what it actually is because that's what they are, right? They're invertronists, right? So they invert that which is good. They turn it upside down, as above, so below, right? They want you living below, and they don't. It's like they want you to think of above, like the vacuum of space, as something that's the opposite to what it actually is. They want you to think it's this vacant privation, right, that has nothing in it whatsoever. Like even though you look up and you see these like crazy lights all the time and you can navigate with them, and they serve the purpose of being able to like match the Earth's electromagnetic field. So there's a connection between us and them. Even though they say there's a void between us and them, right? We have a connection, and that connection is very important. Like birds literally fly based upon their understanding of the electromagnetic currents and field of the Earth and the hot air thermals and currents that are created because of this as well, right? And the energy input from the sun. So it's like, these birds that somehow have tapped into this, like, power of like what we can basically measure and also like predict based upon the celestial movements of the stars above our heads, right? Like there's something important about that. Like the albatross effectively doesn't even need to flap its wings and it can stay aloft based on its movement between hot air thermals, based on its ability to read the basic the frequency of the Earth almost, right? And it's like migrationary patterns, like where the weather is, what the weather's going to be like, and when the weather's going to be like, and where it's going to be like, where and when. Sorry, should I say? It's based on this electronic field as well. And the animals also have a connection to that, like the wildebeest and stuff like this, and the geese. they change their migratory patterns based on it. We know meteorite showers are predicted based upon this stuff also, right? And it's like they're trying to like at the same time as disconnect us from our own earth. They're trying to connect us to that, but under the guise of something that's completely wrong and inverted. This idea it's empty, it's a privation, whereas where it could be that it's the Shamayim, it's the heavens, it's got greatness up there, that like it proclaims the glory of the creator, right? Like it shows how amazing this place is, that we're like completely separate, that we are the center, that like we're not in a nihilistic world of like mere happenstance. We didn't come out of nothingness, of a big bang, a singularity, like a chaos creating order, like like there is some order to these things, and like we are meaning something in some way. Like that's a beautiful thought, when the other way is like completely disgusting and depraved and nihilistic.
Yeah, you kind of lost me there a little bit, but I get what you're saying.
I got a question for you. Yeah? You said, and I'm just trying to clarify, that you were looking into the government and you found out that they were like some form of like Satanist.
Yep.
Right? And then you found Eric Dubay, and then you found God.
Well, you could say
How
that.
do you find it through Dubay?
YouTube, like actually back in the day, they used to censor like the algorithm and stuff like that used to pop up without you searching for it.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get that straight. Is that what you said? Because that basically confirms what the Bible says about how he uses every bad thing to he like takes it
for good
and uses it for good.
Yeah, I guess because all the stuff they're doing and stuff like they're exposing themselves pretty much, I guess.
Or even Eric Dubay, though, right? Like he's not exactly promoting God at all, is he? Really, let's face it.
But he's promoting the truth about the shape of the earth.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. But like, I'm just saying, did Eric Dubay lead him to God? I'm just like, okay. I guess he talks about the creator.
Path that he took. I'm just curious about the path that he took, because it's a very interesting path, the journey that he took to get there. Because I mean, I don't know if your God is the God of the Old Testament or the Father of Christ or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, that's a very interesting. I just want to say it real fast, and I'm done. I just want to say it's a very interesting journey that you took darkness to get to light. The darkness had to show you the light. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I don't believe in any specific like religion per se or specific God. I just like when we go to like the different religions, right? I believe they're all like connected. Like some of them, they're like the same God. They all
They're definitely connected, but they're not the same God per se.
Yeah.
I can say that without it being an esoteric statement as well, or not esoteric, but like without it being ambiguous in a sense. Like I can say it with like a real like backbone behind it, in the sense of like, even if we take that all of these religions are false, let's say for instance, none of the gods exist. Yeah, okay, like. The gods aren't necessarily the same thing. People could say they're like reincarnated or recycled, like types of archetypal figures that were pushed into new stories. But like, for instance, like we know this, we know the stories of these gods, and a lot of these gods, like they had different purposes and different places of region existed at the same time. Some of them definitely did come from the others, if that makes sense. Like some of them gave birth in the stories, right? For instance, like the demigods, for instance, like where Hercules came from. Like he came from older Greek gods and stuff like that. But like, for instance, like you couldn't say Hinduism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, like these types of religions. I wouldn't associate those to the Abrahamic Yah or God of the Bible. I wouldn't say that they're the same
main
thing.
ones that are popular right now, like Islam and Christianity. They're like
I wouldn't even say they're the same God either, personally. Like not Islam and Christianity. That's just me though.
Yeah, I haven't read either the Quran or the Bible, but I know like in the Quran I have a few Muslim friends that like it mentions Jesus like more than Muhammad himself. So like
Well, he's one of the prophets in the Bible because he obviously was around way before Muhammad, so they used him in it, but they left out a lot of where they got it from. Like they took what they pleased and from it and used what they didn't please anymore. They discarded, should I say? So, but like but with Muhammad, for instance, and obviously the Hadith and all of that stuff, right? And because I believe Aisha wrote some of the Hadith, in fact, and the Quran itself is a book that, when you look at the nature of the creator in the book, it is antithetical to the nature of the creator in the book of the New Testament.
Well, I gotta say, I'm making an argument from ignorance because I haven't read much of the Quran. But when I talk to Muslims, they tell me that they basically hold Christ as like the highest prophet, and
yeah, that's what they say. Peace be upon
consider
Muhammad.
him the Messiah, right? And it's basically like you kind of have to be a follower of Christ to be a Muslim,
right?
Because you can't reject Christ. So
distinction. Though they're on about the Christ that's to come, right? So they don't see him as Christ or Messiah Christ. At the moment, they see him as Jesus, only the prophet, the Jesus back then. They're in their book at the end. It says that there is a Messiah to come, who will be the like they say Muhammad was the last prophet, the last messenger. The Messiah, the Christ that you talk of, right? Like the risen Christ, the idea of risen Christ is not the type of Christ that we're talking about in the Muslim religion whatsoever. They don't hold him in the same regard. Like they don't hold him as a god or anything like that. They just see him as a prophet, right? But when they speak of him as a Christ, they're talking really about what it says in the last parts of the Quran, where it talks about basically Jesus coming back and running Islam itself and being the leader of Islam as a deity then, not as a deity now.
Great, that's interesting. Because when people try to gain power here on Earth, their empire ends when they die, right? But for the Messiah, his empire began when he died, right?
Exactly.
This is the way of the martyr. So,
but they don't see it that way around. That's the problem. Is that that's why I say it's not the same thing, because the way that they look at Messiah is that they see him as just a messenger, and actually they hold Muhammad as a higher messenger because it's a supersediary verse thing. It's the same with the supersediary verses. Whichever verses are newest in the Quran matter more than the ones before them. So Jesus is more in the beginning, and then in the Quran. And then Muhammad's more towards the end. What he says holds more weight than Jesus and will overwrite edicts that Jesus actually had said with his mouth. They can go against something that Jesus would directly say not to do by using the words of Muhammad to go against him. So in that's simplistic proof that they hold, in my opinion, Muhammad as a higher prophet even than him. And that's why they always say peace be upon him, Muhammad, more often than they ever do Jesus. And they don't see Jesus as dead, and him being dead and defeating death being the one that now has redeemed, and effectively his work was done on the cross and in that death there and then. They see it more as that his work is to be done in the future. And that's the angelic form of Christ that the Muslims refer to, and they like to use taqiyya and trick people and pretend that they're doing the same thing almost, but they're not. That's just my opinion.
I need to read the Quran. I need to just do it. I've been putting it off for far too long. But I don't think I'm going to read all that hadith, all the extra stuff that people said about the Quran. I think I'll just read the Quran.
Well, the thing is with the hadith, right? With the hadith, yeah. So that's somewhat important to read in some ways. So it depends as well. You got to think about what translation of the Quran are you going to read, because how many Muslims are there? Which Muslims are the ones that you're most wanting to understand? So I would say Bukhari as a translation would be one of the best to read, because that's the most representative of most Muslims in the world. That's more like 70 to 80%, and that's Sunni Islamic people. That's the translation that's going to be more similar. But then the hadiths, again
The Sunnah.
with the Sunnah as well, but with the supersedary verses, what was written last is taken with higher weight than what was written. So like it's like with the Quran, you can read the end of the Quran and really like know the nature more of Islam than if you read the beginning of it. You might get a bit of a twist of it. I think that's how a lot of people get into Islam from ignorance, is they read it from the beginning and they're like, oh, this sounds great, but like, and they're hooked into it by the end, and it's like, well, if you read the end first and like you read like the part where, you know, like Muhammad and his like brothers and stuff like buried literally like, you know, their wives and their daughters alive so they could go to battle, so they didn't have the dishonor of their wives and daughters being raped if they lost, and then hopefully they got back in time if they won to dig them up and they would still be alive and not have suffocated. Like, and you see that sort of stuff, and that's like in the end, and they have supersedary verses, like I said, that outweigh the ones that were before them. It's kind of like, I don't know, like the nature of it all changes on its head.
Well, what's fascinating, fact villain, is that the Holy Bible was written by man, right? Because God used man to write as a pen to write the word of the Holy Bible. But what people don't understand was that the Holy Quran was actually given to Prophet Muhammad, which was given by the angel Gabriel, and it says in the Holy Bible. It says in the Holy Bible that this book will be given to that person.
The thing is have you heard about the older Quran though? There was two Qurans.
He said that he would be the only one to read that book, and then he would teach others to read that book. So, you know.
Well, right. So Muhammad's wife, right, was extremely rich, and older.
She was a business.
And she was extremely involved with the Knights Templar and the Catholics, right, in trade.
She knew of them. She doesn't.
Yeah.
She wasn't involved with them. She knew about them and knew how business was going.
The first Quran's released into the 72 tribes. That first Quran was destroyed. Did you know that? Because they all started murdering each other because it was too violent. I believe that Islam's the monolithic sword of the Catholic Church, meaning that like they follow the agenda of the Catholic Church to a T, because the book that they read was written to fit in with what they're saying. And if you look at like the idea of the Antichrist coming, right, they're waiting for the Antichrist because they're waiting for Jesus to come, right? And it's said in that way, Jesus, right? Okay,
right, because
they're
the
waiting.
Antichrist is going to be using it will be using Jesus' name.
Yeah, like exactly. So, and like they're waiting for him to come, and like that fits in with and again, like the Jews even are waiting for their Messiah too, are they not? Maybe they will all be duped by the same guy in the Catholic Church as well, right? They already have their so-called Messiah on earth right now, the Pope, and the Pope will hand over a form of leadership to the coming Antichrist. Like, it's an official body that's existed apparently since the early church. That's what they say, that would be able to hand over that power, and then that might unite all of those different people, because it says that in the end of days it will be 3/4 of the Earth's population, pretty much, I believe, or 1/4 of the Earth's population that will be under the Antichrist as like an army, and like because they're waiting for him in the format of that format, like the format in which they're waiting for him in is in the format in which the Antichrist is going to come, is my point. Whereas, like, yeah, so like, it's going to be easy for them to be deceived, is my point. And especially people under the Catholic Church, because they just listen to what their priests say instead of reading the book themselves. That's why the Catholic Church like had like the whole thing of like, you know where the idea of what's it called comes from, limbo. It comes from the Catholics like telling people that their loved ones were trapped in land between heaven and hell, and effectively Hades and heaven, and that they had to pay to the Catholic Church to get them locked and trapped from that trapped place and put back up into that other place. So the Catholics really benefited from not translating the Bible from Latin for a long time. And again, it talks about this in Daniel, about the 10-headed horned beast that has a more stout horn on its head, and the 10 horns will represent the 10 kingdoms of the earth with the most power, but the small horn will be represented by a small government, effectively seen as a religious order, and this religious order will, though more stout than its fellow horns on the head of the beast, will have the control over the whole head. And that's very much like what the Catholic Church did, the Romans did, should I say the Roman Catholic Church, after the Rome apparently fell. Every single kingdom had its consigliere, its emissary, its bishop, its priests from the Vatican sent into every kingdom, and they spoke in the ear, and they made the Gregorian calendar, and that's what it also says in Daniel, in the prophecy as well, and in Revelation it talks about how they will seek to change times, that they'll change the new year into being, instead of it being at the beginning of the year where there's the springing and budding of new life, it will be at the dead of winter. And will happen in the middle of the night. And that's what they did. They did all of these things, and it says that there will be the beast and the harlot, effectively, is what it is. It's like they'll be adorned in purple, scarlet, and purple, right? And that they'll, have jewels, effectively adorned on them, and it will be that they will actually bow, that they'll worship the wrong thing completely. But yet claim to be of it, like they will come as angels of light. And we see the Catholic Church actually did do exactly all of these things at the same time as running all of these kingdoms with their emissaries. And that's why it was a problem whenever a country wanted to leave the Catholic Church and its influence, because they had to pay taxes to it. It was the nation state of the kingdoms that the kingdoms paid their taxes to. And the church, this is why separation of church and state is such a big thing, because that's about the separation of the Vatican from every kingdom in the world. And if we look at their fruit and the fruit that they've borne so far, I would say it's not great, right? And all of this went on and was able to happen during, the upcoming of the Umayyad clans, and all of the different caliphs, or the kings or leaders of Islam. Even they worked in sort of congruity with them, it seems, and they both flourished together at the same times. When Spain sort of went a little bit against the Catholic Church, it's funny how the Islamic caliphate somehow poured its way into Spain from the south through the Andalusian mountains and took it over, restabilized it, and then eventually it was handed back over to the Catholics when the Muslims left and went back down into Morocco through to Africa. They've seemingly worked together, in my opinion, from the beginning, in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. I don't trust either of the groups whatsoever. And yeah, the book of the Quran and the edicts within it of like takhir and the ability for them to lie to us in order to serve their overall purpose and goal of delivering us to the one true God. And like that idea that his wife potentially already had a Quran, and then it didn't work, and then the Quran was written on Muhammad's deathbed, apparently. Not that they say that Gabriel gave it to him, but they say it was written by this is where Sunni and Shiaism comes from. It's more like a bloodline sort of argument. It's like who the first caliph was after the death of Muhammad, who would be the leader of all of the tribes, right? Like there's an argument over the bloodline, and it's like one of the bloodlines is to do with Aisha, and the other bloodline is to do with his right hand man, and who should be the caliph. And I think the person that wrote the end of the Quran was the person that took the leadership. And I feel like the idea that Aisha wrote some of the hadith, and her family was the family, in fact, that ended up becoming the leading family, and it was the Sunnis that made the first caliphate. And so that's her family lineage that took over the first caliphate, instead of it being the other